Okay, so I am back once again. I think the internet wasn't so strong, so I lost that live stream. So in case you did not join the first round or when I came online, I think about 7 minutes ago. So I am hosting a live stream. So if you have any questions, as regards moving to Germany, studying in Germany. You know, like I said, one of the main reasons why I am doing this is because a lot of people have been reaching out to me and they have, questions, and I just see that if people come together, ask your questions, some other persons can benefit. All right. So we can see we have two people online now. So what I would want you to do is if you join, you could just say your name and where you are joining us from, so that we can interact with each other. All right. So I think I have about 10 minutes to 15 minutes to spare to answer questions. So I would be waiting for you as it were. So that it doesn't draw while I'm expecting people to join. Um, so if you want to, for example, study in Germany, um, one of the things that you need to do, why I'm starting with this is because this is the question that a lot of people always ask, what are the requirements for studying, for studies in Germany? And what you need to know is that getting admission in Germany, in my own opinion, is actually easy. You just need to satisfy some of the requirements that the universities are actually asking for. So on the top of the list, most times is that you should have completed your bachelor's program if you are looking for a master's program to enroll in. Then, in addition to that, you would also need, English certification, right? Because many of the master's program are taught in English, so you can show English test certificate from international bodies like TOEFL or IELTS. So in many cases, you are just required to have maybe like a band 6.5 or something. So which in European framework is like B2 or C1, right? So if you have that, or for some people who had their bachelor's degree in um, an English speaking country, for example, in Ghana, in Nigeria, even sometimes maybe in India or any other country, as it were. So you are just required to they call it a medium of instruction. So it's a medium of instruction is more or less like stating that, oh, this is to certify that so and so person, was taught entirely in English throughout his or her own bachelor's degree, right? So what this is stating is um, you were taught in English. So if you are taught in English, it means that to an extent you understand the English language, right? So you would not need to, it's more or less like you get a waiver from submitting like an IELTS or TOEFL certificate, all right? Okay, so that's the second one. You will need to fulfill the language requirement, all right? If you are just joining, I want to encourage you, just state your name and where you are joining from. You know, this is supposed to be a very short live stream, and I just want to ask. It's an ask me anything segment. Okay, so ask your questions, and I would give the answers with the best of my own abilities. Okay, so like I was saying, you would need to show your English proficiency. Then for some universities, depending on what you want to study, sometimes you might need to do a GMAT or GRE, right? So GRE is Graduate Record Examination. So it's and this many times it's usually courses that are in, for example, marketing, business administration. It's not compulsory. No, I believe I think maybe about 10% of schools ask for GRE or GMAT. In Germany. All right. So once you can fulfill your certificate from your first degree. So I also need to state that when you are bringing your certificate, it's many people, the people will stand a better chance at those who, in quotes, I would be using like the Nigerian scale of certificates. In Nigeria, you have a 5 points, five being the highest. In Germany, for example, number one or one is the highest. All right. So, for example, in Nigeria, if you get a 4.5 out of 5, you are a first class graduate, right? However, in Germany, it's usually one. If you get a note one, then you have done excellently well. So, for a lot of people, when you bring your certificate from wherever it is, in the world, if it's from India, for example, from South Africa, Rwanda, Nigeria, Ghana, you would need to convert your certificates, into the German scale. So what that simply means is for someone who finished with a 4.5 or 4.5 GPA, you would need to change your final score, into the German scale. So what this simply means is if you are doing the calculation for this, at the end of the day, a 4.5 can be within like a 1.1 or 1.3, note 1.3. So, and that is a very, very, very good result. So for some people who possibly finished with a 2-2 or a third class, and sometimes when you convert, what your finishing grade was into the German scale, it might not be so competitive, right? So a lot of times, what you just need to, if you have the required, work experience and you had it to your results that wasn't so good, then you would stand a good opportunity in getting what admission to whichever school you desire. Okay, so that's the first question I usually get a lot from people. Now the second one which I would like to address is in the place of spousal visa, right? So like I said earlier on, if you are joining, please write your name in the chat. Just state your name and where you are actually joining us from. Okay, so your name and where you are joining from, and if you have any question. So I got one question here from Leonard. Is asking how are the ladies in Germany? Okay, Leonard, thank you for joining. Uh, your question is I would say that it depends when you talk about how oh, good to see you and thank you for joining from Italy. So I do not have a lot of experiences in this, because I have my family with me here in Germany. However, I would say that I believe it's more or less like the same with everywhere you will go in the world, right? So I actually do not know what exactly you mean by how are the ladies in Germany. Of course, they are good, they are beautiful, and they are nice, if I would say that. However, they are very independent also, right? So I hope I have answered your question, Leonard. As regards how the ladies in Germany are. All right. Have I answered the question? So if you are joining once again, I want to encourage you, please just state your name and where you are joining from. And if you have any questions as regards Germany, I would try to answer with the best of my abilities. Okay, I can see that we have about 3 people here. So just write your name, please. Just make an introduction and ask your questions, right? So I wanted to, I'm actually, it's an Ask Me Anything segment, so I know that a lot of people have so many questions they would like answers to, and sometimes it can be tiring answering the same questions, and that's why I brought up this segment. And then secondly, I think some few days ago we clocked them 1,000 subscribers. So just as a way of giving back to my lovely subscribers, that's why I'm doing this. All right. So ask me anything question segment, and I'll try to answer. Right. So I was talking about spousal visa. Right. So if okay, so another question from Leonard. He said, I'm told renting is very expensive and also difficult to find apartments for rent. Well, you are very, very correct, right? If you are staying in major cities, for example, if you're staying in Cologne, in Munich, in Berlin, in Stuttgart, any of the major cities, rent is actually very expensive. And I would say that from my own experience, it's more expensive in a place like in Munich, right? So Munich is one of the most expensive cities in Europe, right? So for example, for a 12 square meter apartment, you can cough out as much as 600 euros. In my own opinion, it's quite ridiculous. I think I would do maybe like a video on that. So just imagine just a small space. You're paying about 600 to 800 euros. And apart from that, you would think that when someone places an exorbitant price on an apartment, people wouldn't patronize the person. You will be very surprised that a lot of people would rush. So even if you say, oh, you are contemplating the period, you are contemplating as regards that someone else would have gotten the place. So it's that crazy, right? So apartments are actually very, very expensive. But if you go to the suburbs, if you go to a village or somewhere that is a bit far from the city center, then it's likely that you will get something that is relatively cheap. However, cheap is very relative, like I said. So I hope I've answered that question. So apartments are quite expensive generally. So Olubume Olatejo, all right. It said, can you borrow to fund your stay in Germany while you work and pay back when studying? Okay, so I do not really understand the question, but I will just try to. So basically, if you want to study in Germany, um, one of the requirements is that you need to show that you can take care of yourself while you are living in Germany. So, and they do this by, in three different ways. It's first and foremost, if you get a scholarship, whether it's from DAD, DAD, or if it's Erasmus scholarship, Then the second one is that you can get someone who is going to sponsor you. So the person should be a German citizen, either a German citizen, could be someone who is working here in Germany. So basically the person will issue more or less like a note or stating that, oh, this person is coming to study in Germany and I will cater for his or her own need. You can present this to the German embassy and it will suffice for your own certificate of subsistence, as it were. Then the third one, which is the most popular one, is the fact that you can, you would be required to create like a blocked account. It's called a blocked account. So currently, I think that amount is about 10,280, if I'm not wrong, or it's around 10,200 thereabouts. So you would need to show this amount, right? So basically, what they need, and I usually tell people that this money is yours, right? So whether you borrow it or it's your own money, it's yours, and it will be splitted into 12 equal payments for each month. So what that simply means is if you block 10,280, each month you will be paid 820 euros. So what I usually say sometimes is, for example, if you borrowed such amount and your living cost is about 500 euros, you can return back the remaining amount. And as a student, you are permitted to work, right? So what that means once again is that you can work part-time jobs, take care of yourself and return such monies back. All right. So another question from George Futsi said, I hope I answered your question, Olubumi Olateju. Okay, so I already have admission with a university in North Rhine-Westphalia. Can you help me with the former obligation? Okay, and the second one is I have visa appointment on 1st February and my sponsor is messing up. Oh, so I understand what you mean. Like I was talking about various ways you can use in showing that you can take care of yourself in Germany. And unfortunately, George, I wouldn't be able to assist you with a formal obligation. I would advise that if you can, in quotes, block the amount. I know that it's quite it's cumbersome, right? If you can get that amount, it's the safest bet, right? I know the situation of someone, personally, who was looking for a formal obligation that that the sponsor was going to put it down that he's going to take care of him, and he got the appointment. He had gone for visa appointment. However, like you have stated here, the person who was to the sponsor was messing up. So instead of giving him a formal obligation, for studies, he gave him that for tourist visa, right? So the embassy wrote this particular applicant stating that this is not acceptable. Since you are coming to study, you can't bring an obligation for visiting. So, and like you have written also, the sponsor didn't respond in time, and that was how he lost that opportunity, right? So the truth of the matter is that for a lot of people who are living in a place like Germany, so let me do like a breakdown for so before I do the breakdown. If you are just joining, I want to encourage you to write your name and where you are joining from, and just ask your question, because it's an ask me anything segment. Okay, so if you have any question, just ask me and I will try within my own capability to answer. Then also I want to encourage you guys to please like this video, share with your friends. Some of people that might be interested in something like this. Just like the video and share it. Okay, so just like I was saying, let me go do a breakdown, right? So for any sponsor to be able to provide a letter of obligation or a sponsorship letter, as it were, you know, okay, George. So for anyone to be able to provide a sponsorship letter, uh, this is how the breakdown is, and sometimes you wouldn't blame people because you don't know what they are actually facing. So when the person who is resident in Germany goes to the alien office or the Landresamt, as it were, right? They would ask you for your payslip and ask, oh, how much do you earn in a month? So if, for example, the person earns, I'm just using hypothetically, the person earns 2,000 euros, right? So they state, oh, my payslip, I earn 2,000 euros after tax. Now, we ask, okay, how much do you pay for rent? If the person pays, for example, 800 euros, what is the person left with? The person is left with about 1,200 euros. Now, how much do you spend on food for food? I spend 200 euros for food. So the person is left with 1,000 euros. Do you have anyone who is dependent on you? If the person has a child, or two kids, as it were, it's likely that you might be spending at least 100 euros per child. So if you have two children and you deduct 200 euros from that, you have 800 euros remaining. Now, do you have any bills? Possibly you are on rental contracts or any other thing that would take your money, at the end of the month. So some people might have, some recurring expenditure, possibly around 50 to 200 euros. So let's go at the middle, the average. The person has recurring expenditure of like 100 euros. So the person is left with 700 euros that he or she can spend for his or her own self. So by the time they go through all this, someone who earns 2,000 euros and has a whole lot of obligation, financial obligation, wouldn't be able to sponsor you. All right. So that is why sometimes some people might promise you that, oh, I am going to be your sponsor. However, at the end of the day, they do not meet up, to this obligation, because what they are earning and the amount they have left after all their expenses do not tally. You understand me? So the person would need to have at least 820 euros after all expenses, after all his or her own living expenses in Germany, before they can sponsor you. So if they don't have at least 820 euros, then it's not possible for them to write a sponsorship letter for you. I hope I've answered your question, George. So if I've answered, you can just keep a thumbs up. So if you are just joining once again, please, it's an Ask Me Anything segment. If you have any question, anything bothering you as regards studying to Germany, coming to Germany, I can assist you with that on this segment, right? So I have been receiving several messages from people, and that's why I am doing this, so that we can interact with each other. So first and foremost, write your name, where you are watching from, and ask your questions, right? So that I can assist you with that. Okay. So yeah, very good. All right. So George understood what I said. So it's not very easy, for someone to give you a sponsorship letter. The person would need to be earning a particular amount of money, and would also have like the minimal he or she would need to have after all expenses. So if I am to advise, if you can get the money for a blocked account, just go with that. It's less stressful, right? It's very, very stressful. Of course, it's not easy to raise such amount of money, especially looking at the exchange rates. However, once you are able to get that kind of money, it will be of course the money will be at the bank, but you would still get everything in the space of 1 year. All right. So if you have any questions, please ask. Okay. So Olubumi Olateju is asking, when can you apply for DAD scholarship, right? So basically, I think the last entry, I believe it has closed. I think it usually opens in October. Yes, October, if I'm not mistaken. You can go to daad.de. Once that's that website, and you would get a lot of information, especially some of the requirements, and some of the programs or the partnering universities, that they give scholarships, to. So, but I know that the process or the time when you can apply has actually has passed, if I'm not mistaken. But it usually starts in October. That I'm sure about. Okay. So I hope I've answered that. But for more information, please visit daad.de. Okay. So George is also asking, say, I like some of the application mistakes students make, and also the kind of questions they could ask. Okay. So for example, when for some schools, some schools ask you to write like a statement of purpose, SOP. Some might ask you to write like a motivation letter. Now, so what they actually want you to do if you are applying, especially, not all universities actually ask for this, but in cases where you have like a statement of purpose, or you have a motivation letter, right? I believe they are quite similar. It's for some universities to, depending on the course you are applying. I know that for some programs in TUM, Technical University München, you are required to write, like they would give you like a topic, and you are supposed to write a thesis on it. That's, like a short thesis, on it, possibly like one or two pages, as it were. So when you are writing a statement of purpose or a motivation letter, it's what they are actually looking at, or the governing body, the admission body, what they're actually looking at is, oh, is this person a right fit, to this program? So for example, you are applying to a program in agriculture, for example. I am just using agriculture generically. So you're applying to a program in agriculture. Now, when you're writing your motivation letter, you need to, in quotes, introduce yourself first and foremost. Then, secondly, you need to talk about how the interest in agriculture came about. So, for example, we could say, oh, while I was a young boy, I'm just giving this as an example. I started subsistence farming in my backyard. My parents used to get, something like they cultivate tomatoes, okra, and I got interested in this because I said, oh, so I can plant something here, and within 3 months, I've gotten my produce. And afterwards, I discovered that some people were hungry in my own vicinity, and sometimes from the produce of what we have gotten there, I give it to others, so, and I derive joy from that. You could equally link it, theoretically, to some of the things that are happening in today's world. For example, you can talk about the SDG goals, right? You can talk about reducing hunger in all its form. So what they are actually looking at is, first and foremost, putting your own personal experiences, then linking it with some theories or what problems that you have right now, then concluding, then writing how the program you are going for is going to assist you in achieving your major goal in life. Do you understand me? So you are including your own personal experiences, you are putting problems that you have currently in the world, and you are stating how you tying some of the knowledge you will get. So many times it's very important that you do your research on the program, check some of the courses that you were taking in this program, then you include that in it. So once you can tie everything together on how this program you are applying to is going to help you achieve your goals, the governing body in charge of admission say, oh, this person may likely be a right fit for us. Okay, so, and you're asking about some kind of questions that they could ask, right? So sometimes you would do an interview. So it's also the same thing, Max, that I have talked about. They would ask you about some of your experiences, why you want to study this program. And many times, compared to the way interviews are done where we come from, it's in Germany. Many times when you have an interview, especially with where the program you apply to, okay, you are talking about visa. Oh, all right, good. So for the visa section, it's also the same thing. You would write a motivation letter, right? Why do you want to study in Germany? Right? I remember when I did mine some years back. I stated my reasons why I wanted to study in Germany and possibly not do my master's program then, in Nigeria. And I stated the fact that, first and foremost, um, it's going to be an international setting. I was doing an international course, so I would meet people from different parts of the world, and I would be able to share experiences, then get the exposure that I need, which I may not get in my home country. I also talked about the fact that Germany as a country, is very advanced academically, so I would get access to world class education, as it were. So something in that aspect. Then sometimes they would equally ask you, about Germany. So for example, you need to, if you are going to a place, you should have done your research, right? So some of the questions you may likely be asked is, oh, what's the flag of the colors in the flag of Germany, right? So there's red there, there's yellow, and it's also black. It can ask you some of the countries that border Germany, so you can keep that to mind. It could ask you some questions regarding the program you are going for, right? So why do you want to study this program, and what's this program all about? So when they ask you such questions like that, you would go into details about the course and everything that you'll be doing there. So bear in mind that the visa officer, many times they might not know anything about the program you are going for. So you just need to share. So what I would say is that you need to do your due diligence, know everything, not everything anyways, know the reason why you are going for that course, right? Check out some of the coursework and the modules, so that when you are asked, you can answer. For some people, sometimes when you go for interview, they might give you some problems to solve. So if you are going into possibly in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or even something like accounting, sometimes periodically, not for everyone, they might give you some problems to solve. You would go outside, go and solve it, then bring the solution over there. So I would say that possibly that's like in every 100 people, maybe only 2% or 3% actually experience that. So you might not likely experience that. So they would ask about Germany. Do you know what's the name of the current chancellor? The president, and just general knowledge, right, about Germany, where you are coming to. So that's just it, basically. I hope I've been able to answer that. Will I be able to answer that, Mr. George? All right. So if you are joining once again, I want to encourage you, just write your name and where you are joining from, so that we can continue this. Okay. So I had someone asked about the DAD scholarship, right? And another person asking about apartments. So I want to encourage you also, if you can share this live stream with your friends, and your family, so that they can join. For some people who might equally be interested, right? Because I think this is a real opportunity, and you shouldn't just let it go by like that, right? So any questions you have, please just type it, write your name, where you are watching from, and the question you have. Okay. So any question, as it were, just ask. In the previous stream, I said that if you ask, then you get response. Okay. Okay. So I should do a video on how to write a good motivation letter. Okay, I would consider that. And also you can check online also. That's if I don't do such video last in the immediate future. You could just check online. There are a lot of websites that give like a sample, and you can just work with that. Okay. So Olubimi Olatejo is asking, what kind of jobs can you get as a student, and how easy can you get these jobs? Okay, that's a very, very good question, because I know that apart from the fact that a lot of people want to study, one of the motivation that you would equally have is the fact that you can also sustain yourself. That's sustain yourself by doing or working, jobs while you are studying, right? So first and foremost, if I would advise, I would say that it's very important that before you come to Germany, if you can learn German, I believe that it would help you very, very much, right? So just few facts. Germany is one of the strongest, not the strongest anyways, but one of the strongest economies in Europe. So what that simply means is that I would talk about possibly prior to Corona, pandemic, a lot of people from all over Europe, from Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, they come to Germany to look for jobs, because there are a lot of job opportunities. Now, as a student, like I've stated in some other videos, you are given the permission to work half day for 240 days in a year. So what that simply means is that you can work part-time, throughout the whole year. That's when you put 240 days, you're talking about if someone is working on weekdays, that's Monday to Friday, right? You are working for 4 hours. That is what it means by half day. However, if you are working full time, you can only work full time for 6 months. That means that you are doing 8 hours jobs for 6 months. So, and the truth of the matter is, a lot of times people think, if don't worry, I can work more than this. But I would advise that it's always very important that you keep to the law that is in the land, right? Because you are a student, your visa or can be revoked if you go much more than this. So now to your question, you're saying how easy it is to get these jobs. So first and foremost, I will answer what type of jobs you can get. Now, as a student, if you understand German very well, you can get professional jobs. They call them out internship or VEX students jobs, where you work in the office, So, for example, if you had prior experience in your home country, you can get a job in that line. However, what a lot of students, do in order to support themselves is you can work in restaurants, You can work in a warehouse, maybe like work with Amazon. You can do delivery jobs and so many other jobs. And I've shared in some other video, that the average wage, I believe, recently in January, they increased the minimum wage. If I'm not so wrong, please don't quote me on this, but I am not so sure about the amount. But I would just say, I think €9.75, and they intend to increase it to €10.50 per hour, meaning that if you get a job, the minimum that you can be paid as of today is about €9.75, right? So, but averagely, the amount that they pay people is within 11 to €12 per hour as a student. So, you will get jobs for food delivery, working in warehouse, and which other one? So those are jobs that are readily available for people, So it's not difficult. And I should also state that depending on the city where you live, right? So if you are living in a big city like in Munich, in Cologne, in Berlin, in Stuttgart, or in Hanover or Hamburg or whatever, it's much more easier to get jobs. But one of the things I always say or tell people, that consult with me is the fact that it doesn't matter where you are, in Germany, due to the fact that there are very good transportation networks, so people, you can be living, for example, for context, because since you are from Nigeria, you can be living in Ibadan, right? And be working in Lagos because of good transportation system, right? And many times as a student, you are given subsidized tickets. A lot of universities have this, not all universities, such that you can transport, or you will get the tickets, transport tickets. It's usually per semester, right? That you can be living in Ibadan and be coming to Lagos, and you wouldn't have to pay. It's just like a round up figure. So for example, if you're schooling in Munich, there's what they call a semester ticket, which you pay, I think, about €195, for 6 months. So you can travel all around Munich with this ticket, and it's valid for 6 months. Once you purchase it, once you pay €195, you can go to the length and breadth of regions within Munich. So what that simply means is that you might be living at one extreme and be working at the other extreme, and it wouldn't affect you, I mean, like financially, as it were. So I hope I've been able to answer that, Olubumi, the types of jobs you can get and how easy it is to get these jobs. So, okay, so let me talk about the current reality. Because of COVID-19, it's a bit difficult, not that you wouldn't get, but it's now very, very, very competitive. But notwithstanding, I always believe that there's always a way. Once there's a will, there's a way. I know many people who get jobs, so it's now much more competitive because, for example, for those who would have gotten jobs in restaurants are closed. Restaurants and hotel restaurants are closed right now. So that means that one aspect where people usually get jobs from, is cancelled. So that's it. All right. So Uncle Phil is asking, please, do you know how many months will the visa be approved by the Nigerian embassy? Okay. So as a rule, if I remember correctly, your visa can be processed. Um, once you go for your visa interview, within, if all things being equal, that's, I mean, your application is complete and correct, and you have your blocked account or any means you intend to sponsor yourself in Germany. Once everything is complete, sometimes there are factors that actually lead to how fast your visa is approved. First and foremost, don't forget that the embassy in Nigeria is a representative of the German government. So what that simply means is once they get your application, they send it over to the city where you are going to, or where your school is, or where you will be working in Germany, and they will process this application. So I think, or I believe that many times, if you are going to maybe a city, for example, Munich or Berlin, the processing period might be a bit longer. It doesn't mean that for smaller cities. So this is how they do. They in Germany, right? You would have a big city. However, in such cities, you would equally have, districts where um, residency, or will I say that when residency that takes care of, foreigners, are broken into smaller units. So, for example, in Munich, I know that in Munich, if you are living within a particular location, there's the Landratsamt. I think they have about the 5 offices or whatever, that will take care of your application. So what usually causes delay sometimes might be that, for example, I can also say that currently, due to coronavirus, it's very difficult. Like if you are resident in Germany now, even to extend your visa is difficult. It's more or less like there is a lot of backlog, right? So you are residents in Germany, and it's difficult for you to extend your visa. How much more for someone who is applying from outside? So what that simply means is, or in my own opinion, I think sometimes the smaller the town, the faster it is for you to get your visa approved. Okay. So, like I stated, the embassy in Nigeria collects the documents, sends it to the university, the town where the university is located. They work on it and give a response, whether to approve the visa. So this period can be within 3 to 12 weeks, right? 3 to 12 weeks. That's what is given within 3 to 12 weeks. So you can get your visa as early as 3 weeks or as much as 12 weeks. If it extends this, then you need to be writing. Some people also, like, what I would advise is, if you have submitted your application, once it's like the 5th or 6th week and you are not getting any response, you can write the alien office in the city where your university is located. I hope I've answered that. Okay. Celestina is asking, if the money for the blocked account is in a savings account, will they still require your current or checking account statements too if you are working? Okay. So thank you for joining, Celestina, sorry. So I got to know from some people who are possibly in Eastern Africa. I think they usually use this. Okay, I think I got to know from someone who is from Zimbabwe. That in the embassy, in German embassy in Zimbabwe, someone could use like a checking account or current account. However, what I am very familiar with is the fact that you need a blocked account, right? So, and a blocked account is, though I'm not sponsored, so I wouldn't want to start calling different names, but well, for the purpose of education, anyways, I used Fintimba, in when I wanted to do my own blocked accounts. There are a lot of other services now. So basically, you would be using when you open an account like Fintimba, for example, you will be provided with a German account number. So all the monies you have gathered, that's, I mean, like the 10,280, you will convert it from your home currency into, euros, and send it to that account. Okay. So when you get to Germany, you would equally open another account with a public bank, then you would send or submit, the account you have opened while you are in Germany, to Fintimba, for example, and they will be sending the chunk 820 euros into your own personal account. Okay, so I'm not so conversant with savings accounts, and current or checking account statements. But what I understand is you have to take that money entirely from your own account and push it to a German account, which, like I said, Fintimba can assist you with. Okay, so I'm not sponsored by that. I'm just giving you the information. All right. So and I would also need to tell you that the reason why I know that maybe about 7 or 8 years or thereabouts, people could possibly just show like a current account and it would fly. But they discovered that a lot of people were not genuine. What I mean by this is you would get someone to show your account, right? And to show his or her own account. Then your visa will be approved. However, when you get to Germany, you will be stranded. So they just changed the policy that you would need to um, block the amount, this amount of money, and you'll be given instrumentally. Okay. So I don't know if I answered your question, Celestina. Okay. So let me go to the next question from Uncle Phil. Say, can I apply for visa now without seeing any response from the school? Well, I would not advise you to do that. And in addition to that, I know that, for example, if you're applying from Nigeria, you know, some of the requirements for visa interview is first and foremost your admission letter. So if you do not have an admission letter, you wouldn't get, there wouldn't be any response at all. So I don't know where you which country you are from, Uncle Phil. However, one of the requirements for you to get a visa appointment date is that you must have, first and foremost, your admission letter from the university. So I do not think it's going to fly at all. You can't apply for a visa if you have not gotten an admission letter. All right. So any question, please? If you have other questions, please just ask. I think maybe we have about 14 minutes left. I want to make this streaming possibly 1 hour and we wrap it up. So any questions? If you have any question or if you are just joining, I want to encourage you to write your name, where you are watching from, and the questions you have. Okay. So he said, I'm from Nigeria. Sorry, I wasn't here. Please go through how many months get a visa approved from by Nigerian embassy. Okay, so what you can likely do so that it wouldn't be repetitive, right, is once this stream has ended, then you can go through the video because I explained it over there. Or alternatively, you can just, since it's live stream and you are watching me, live, you can scroll back and watch that segment, then join us, where we are currently. I think that would suffice instead of me saying it again for the purpose of other people who were actually live while I was talking about it. Okay. So, any other questions? Any other question? So we can push this or call it a date. Okay. Any question? If we do not have any question, then I would end the live stream, and I hope you have been able to. Okay. Okay, two questions now. Say, how difficult is it to get a job in Volkswagen? Uh, in Volkswagen, is Volkswagen a city, Celestina? Volkswagen, is it a city? Okay, it's a city. All right. So, like I had explained in previously, that's on this live stream, I stated that it doesn't matter, the university, whether it's in a small town or it's in a big city. I talked about the fact that um, the transportation system in Germany is actually good, especially if you are moving from one place via train. So somebody might be living in a small city and you can be working, excuse me, you can be working in a big city. So the duration, that's, I mean, when you are traveling, you could travel for as much as 2 hours, however, it's going to be smooth. You can, one of the things I like, as regards living in Germany is the fact that you can plan your time. So for example, if you are resuming work at 8 o'clock, every day you would know that, oh, if it takes me 2 hours, then I should be at the train station at 6 o'clock, so that's, or at depending on when the train is to leave anyways. So I'm going to, every day you take the train at, let me say, 5:50, and you get to your destination at 7:50. So it's that's regulated, right? So it doesn't matter if you are living in a small city. The major aim is first and foremost, come in. If you do not like it in that city, you can apply to universities in other cities, whether it's a big city or whatever, right? So you can equally, the only disadvantage of living in a small city is the fact that a lot of times you'll be required to speak German, you know. So, but in bigger cities, you have employers who can employ English speakers, because their clients are people who are English speakers, Spanish, French, or German speakers. So you would get more opportunities for English speakers in bigger cities. But like I said, you can be living in Fort Wagen and equally get a job in the nearest big city, and it's not going to be a problem because of transportation. Okay, so let me go to say Uncle Phil is asking, how is racism there? All right, so the aspect of racism is a very, very sensitive topic, and I think I've done one video on my channel talking about being black in Germany. And I understand that the aspect of racism is not particularly a German thing, right? As long as your skin is black like mine, anywhere in the world, in quotes, in first world countries, if you go to Australia, North America, or even in Europe, it's something that you will always experience in prejudice. However, one of the things I always state is that people will only treat you how you allow them to treat you, right? So, first and foremost, for my own self, I understand that we are all humans, right? We are all human beings. So, nobody is superior to me, and I am not superior to anyone. So, if I see such attitude, I am always on, I do not allow people ride me, whether at the workplace, or I am walking on the street. So, first and foremost, I try as much as possible to be law abiding. And secondly, once I feel that you have any bias towards me, or you want to behave anyhow towards me, I do not allow it slide, right? So I stand up for my own self. I speak up. I know some people, many times when they are being prejudiced on, they do not speak, but I try as much as possible to speak and set the record straight. However, in some cases, like I shared in my video, I said on a particular Sunday, I was waiting for the bus, and because the bus was empty at that time, a bus that was in service, the driver, seeing that I was the only one and that I'm black, it passed. It did not pick me up. So one thing you would notice that there are, just like you would have good people, you equally have people who are not so good and friendly. But personally, generally, it has been good. It has been good for me. People wouldn't discriminate against you openly. It's usually overtly. People try as much as possible not to do that openly, but some people can be very aggressive towards you. Some people would have that bias that, oh, you are black, it's likely you are homeless, you do not have anything, you are not knowledgeable. That's the bias, that's the stereotype. However, at any opportunity where I have, to speak, I always try as much as possible to set the record straight. So I think once you do that, people respect you for that because you don't accept shit. Okay. So, how difficult is it to get an apartment? Once you have money, you get an apartment. Please, one more thing. I registered for uni assist and later realized my school is not included in the list of school. How do I go about it? So, if you are asking for a refund, right? I don't know. So maybe before I answer this question, you should clarify if you're asking for a refund. Are you asking for a refund from Uni Assist, or because your school is not part of those um, who Uni Assist process, certification for evaluation for? So maybe you should clarify this before I can answer. So Ayomide additional is asking, please, do I need IELTS to study in Germany, or it depends on the school? And he said, please, I'm studying an education course at the moment. Can I study a business management course for masters? Okay, so first and foremost, I think I've answered this previously, but I will just state it in summary. Um, for people who come from English-speaking countries, like from Kenya, from Uganda, from Rwanda, even though we have our local languages, or from Nigeria, Ghana, you know, you would just write the examinations and record units of your university and ask them for a medium of instruction, right? So a medium of instruction is a document that states that, oh, so and so person was taught entirely in English throughout his or her own program, most likely your bachelor's program. So what I think sometimes too it might be I don't want to say an insult. Well, let me not say that anyway. But a lot of times you would get IELTS or TOEFL waived off if you can submit this. So one other way you can do this is you write, you will just check through the website and look at um, just look at who is the coordinator for that program, and write that, oh, hello, my name is so and so, and I am a prospective student from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya, and I was taught entirely in English, so and so, but I saw that IELTS or TOEFL is required if I want to study. So I was taught entirely in English, and I don't have TOEFL or IELTS. Can it be waived off because I understand and I speak good English? Then if you have that document with you, you can attach it to it. So many times it will be waived off. So very important when you are planning, just get this medium of instruction. It might not be the name they call it in other university, but I guess it's just a medium of instruction that you can submit. It's usually titled to whom it may concern, or sometimes it might be titled to the university you are applying to. So even if you get the document for one university, you can submit it to other universities. Okay. So I think for a lot of people, they do not use IELTS. So I'm just telling you tricks you can use in waiving IELTS or TOEFL. Okay. So the second question there is, I'm studying education course at the moment. So what I've stated previously also is the fact that if you are doing, or you want to study a master's that is different from what you did in your bachelor's, many times you would need to have work experience in business administration. That is what is going to make it important. Yeah, but that's going to what will make it possible for you to get admission. And in fact, in a lot of business administration, marketing, field, they usually ask for work experience, so that to an extent, once they are teaching, it's not going to be foundational knowledge. Many times they usually work on, or they build up on what you have done in your bachelor's program. So if you did not study business administration in your first degree, it's very important that you have work experience, and you would submit such work experience, what your job duties were in that aspect, before you will be considered for admission. So if you did not study that, you should have work experience before you can get business administration, especially if you are going for a master's. If it's for a bachelor's, it's okay. If it's for a bachelor's, it's okay. You do not need work experience. You will start afresh. But if you are going for a master's degree in any program that is not similar to your first degree, you need to have work experience to back it up. Okay. So, Celestina, back to you now. I say I want to know if there's a way I can still get Uni Assist to certify my documents. Oh, all right. Um, So the question I will ask you again is: have you contacted UniAssist to ask them, concerning this problem you're actually having right now? So you can reply again so that I know how to respond to you. Okay, so Uncle Phil say, can I use a photocopied copy of my school certificate if I can't find the original? So basically, part of the requirements if you want to study is you must have the original, right? And when I mean having the original, like for example, if any school, excuse me, please. So the university you are applying to do not need, the original copy of your certificate. They just need a photocopy. However, the photocopy must, I'm stating again, the photocopy must be certified. Now you can do the certification at the German embassy, or you go to ICOT, right? So and when you go to ICOT, most times you would need to show the original copy at, on one side, and on the other hand you get the photocopy. So it is what the certifying body, or the whoever is at the high court, sees that he or she can certify. We say that, oh, this I am certifying true copy. So you need to get the original copy, photocopy the original copy, then certify the photocopy. I hope that is clear. All right. So you say, I have not contacted them yet. Oh, all right. So what you need to do is to contact them, because I do not have would I say accurate information, because I know that a lot of times universities always state that, oh, you need to certify your document through uni assist. Okay. So okay, so I think on the other hand, you as an independent person, even if you are, oh, I don't want to give you the wrong information, maybe I will just tell you, just write uni assist to clarify, right? Just right, because a lot of times when you are applying to university will tell you that, oh, I am certifying, I mean, you need to certify or evaluate your certificate and submit the evaluation as one of the requirements for admission. So I think you should write uni assist. I do not want to give you information or answer your question based on my own experience. Yours is most likely going to be different, right? So write uni assist to tell them about your problem, and they will respond to you quickly. Okay. So I think we are drawing to the end of this live stream. If you have gotten value, just put the thumbs up, in the chat box. Just put a thumbs up so that I know you are here. Okay. So if you've gotten value from what we've done today, just put a thumbs up. I'm waiting. Okay. Just put a thumbs up, right? Because we're getting to the end of this live stream. Okay. Very good. Okay, very good, Celestina. Thumbs up. Others, just put a thumbs up. I want to encourage you also, please share this video, on your social media platforms. I know that a lot of people, we have shared, valuable information, for people. If you are just starting this process, you would get information. If you have started, you would get information. And if you're almost finishing, there's also information for you. So for some people who, are interested in something like this, you would be assisting them, by pushing out this content to them so that they can equally learn. Okay. So we'll be wrapping this up. I do not know the next time I'm going to go on another live stream. We're going to talk about some other things, but I think I have had fun on my own side. Like this video also, I've had fun sharing my own experience, with you, and also some of the questions you have asked also have been quite enlightening. All right, so I think I would most likely do another live stream, and possibly I would equally put an announcement in advance, right? Because I just did this impromptu. I just thought about it and said, oh, let me go with it. And whoever joins, joins us. So Please, once again, share this video, click the like button, and to the next time, thank you guys, and thank everyone for joining. To the next video, see you guys, and ciao. Enjoy your year. Bye.